As far as the title goes, that's it's a disastrous result for Manchester United. They've basically gifted the initiative, at least, if not gifted the title, to Manchester City with that last night. And I make Jamie O'Hara in that piece right. They disrespected Sheffield United. Yes, they're bottom of the table. And yes, they were on course to be, and might still be, the worst ever Premier League side. But you cannot take those points for granted. Now, he's picked a team he thought was going to win the game, but it didn't. So he has to take the responsibility for that, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And what he's doing, Darren, Solskjaer, is he's proving all the critics and the sceptics and the cynics correct with what went on last night. His team selection and how the game panned out, he's proving all the doubters right by what he did last night in dropping 3 points at home to the team at the bottom of the table. If I was a Manchester United fan, I would be raging about that last night. As much as they might love Solskjaer, I'll be absolutely raging at the team he picked and how they played, bearing in mind the position they're in.
Of course, and I think Manchester United fans, if they're honest about it, they will be disappointed, massively disappointed last night in the performance. And when listen, the part of the skill when you're a manager, you're a coach, is you might want to rest certain players in certain games, but you've still got to win the games. If you rest them and you lose, you know what I mean, you've got to accept the criticism. It's just going to come. So we got it wrong last night. When you're talking about Cavani, we did it on the show yesterday, how important he is to Manchester United and how much better they are when he's in, because he's clever. The clever football, the movement he makes. Greenwood were talking about it in an interview. If one thing I could take from him, when I look at him, it's just his movement. He's so clever. You're playing against Sheffield United defensively. Looked pretty solid last night. Jagielka came in, a 38-year-old, came into the side, right? So with his movement, you need to stretch them. You need to try and get into the gap where Fernandes can come into play. But there was none of that. With the players he had up there, they didn't have the sharpness, they didn't have the brains of Cavani to do that. And it lacked opportunities for Manchester United. And Sheffield United, fair play to them, deserve the points. It just goes to show on that side of it for Sheffield United, the players are very much still playing for Wilder, even though they've had a howler this season. Had a howler.
Yeah, it's an incredible result for them, and may just, who knows, where the confidence from that victory may take them. So they might want to talk about that game, and if they've still got the belief, a lot of people are still saying 10 points from safety, it cannot be done. It's just too big an ask. How do Sheffield United fans feel? Because I think for most of the season, when they've been losing all these games, it's rare they've taken beatings. At times they've looked really poor. Let's face it. You don't sit bottom of the table with that few points on your tally and having played well. But they've been trying to be competitive in all the games without having a cutting edge. So can they really close that gap? Can they really stay up? Love to ask Sheffield United fans that. But on Manchester United, you're right about Cavani. Resting him, I thought, was a very strange one. Rested Luke Shaw as well when he's at the peak of his form. And made that decision to play Matic and Pogba and left McTominay and Fred both on the bench. Now, I know the McTominay and Fred aren't the best, in the world in that position, but can you afford to leave both of them out of the starting lineup? Bearing in mind, it's a long while since Matic played particularly well. So some very strange decisions going on, and I thought some of the performances from the Man United players were really odd. You've talked about Martial already. What did you make of Marcus Rashford? Because I was just I couldn't quite get my head around his performance over the 90 minutes. Rashford, I want to say he's brilliant. I love him. I like him. When he's great, he's great. But what did you make of last night?
Well, I just think with Rashford, I think he's a fantastic player. What he's achieved at Manchester United over the years for someone so young, and the way he is as a human being, I think it's been highlighted on it this year. And I've said the club should be proud of him and what he's developed into. But I think when it comes down to football and people talking about with England at that level, I get he plays for Manchester United. I get he plays every game for Manchester United. But when it comes down, we keep talking about who's going to play top three for England if that's the way he's going to go. And people say Rashford. For me, Rashford, for England, is always a player will have more effect coming off the bench for the last 20 minutes. Similar to like he did to Manchester United in the Champions League game. He comes off the bench where he knows he's got to get into the game straight away. He's going to deliver. He's going to run at defenders and try and make something happen. In games like that, sometimes he just gets lost. I don't know why, and it's an inconsistency in his game. And that's why when it comes up to the higher level, if you want to call it high level, international football, is someone who, for me, who always comes off the bench.
I'd also like to talk about Bruno Fernandes, because he gave the ball away 31 times in the game. And if you think a game is 90 minutes, then you do all the maths on that, and suddenly it becomes very interesting about his performance. Now, he's been terrific. In the year he's been at Man United, he's been absolutely fantastic. There's no question about that. And he's lifted them. Again, no question about that. They wouldn't have finished top 4 without him last season. But is he overtired? Is he one who possibly could have been rested and needs to be rested at some point? And when I say this, he's rested players and they've lost at home to Sheffield United. And a bigger picture on this is that Manchester City are right in that flow where they look unstoppable. They've reached a point of the season where everything's clicking, everything's going fine, they're winning games regularly, they're playing brilliant football, they are on fire. They look like an unstoppable winning football machine. Whereas Manchester United last night for that winner, they defended like idiots. They looked pathetic. And then you've got a goalie who, I think it was a foul from Billy Sharp, but even so, the goalie looks so weak in that position. Why is he doing that? Why isn't he just making it his and claiming everything? And there's so much still wrong with Manchester United when they could have been top and could have, told us all just how serious they are about winning the title. They go and lose at home to Sheffield United.